Meet us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. Hey guys, me, Samsung Galaxy A5 with phil from Undercage.com. This is Samsung's somewhat of a mid-ranger device. So A series is their mid-ranger device, followed by a J series, or the upper front. We got a U and the S series, or the Notes. So this is sitting at the right in the middle, and A5 being the middle model between the A3 and the A7 is the mid-ranger out of the mid-ranger. Alright, so it's got a full metal frame, but before we go on, let's start with the basic parts on the here. It's got a receiver and the sensors and the 5 megapixel camera. This is the 5 megapixel camera that Samsung has put a lot of effort, and it takes a great selfie. I'll have to get that. It's got a 5-inch of an AMOLED display. It's 720p. It's just about a standard, but it's got a Pentel layout, so you're gonna see some of the pixels. It's got a multitasking key, home key, and the back key. No fancy fingerprint recognition. We barely use it, so we didn't really care about it. On the right, we got a power key, SIM card slot, and the dual SIM with the micro SD card slot combined together. So if you want to have a dual SIM, then you'll have to sacrifice a micro SD card. If you want a micro SD card, then you'll have to sacrifice a secondary SIM card. So you'll have to choose between one. Alright, so it's got nothing but the noise cancelling microphone on top. It's got a volume rocker, micro USB port, microphone, and the earphone jack finally moved to the bottom. And this is another welcome change in the Samsung devices. We like it on the bottom better. Alright, it's got a camera, and it's got an 8 megapixel camera with the LED flash speaker over here. This is somewhat resembling that of a Galaxy S3, so we guess that's a little retro taken over here. Samsung logo and the certification logos. This is a Chinese local model, so it's gonna vary on the reason that you get, what you get on here. So that's a little thingy. It's got a full metal frame, and it's got a very clean, neat design. It's very squarey in the same time, and it's got an anodized frame over here, edges, and we like it a lot. It comes in a lot of different colors. Korea's got a white, black, and blue, so you'll have to choose between the colors. They all look pretty nice. White is the least charming one, so that's a little shame, but we got the white one. Alright, so size-wise, it's a 5-inch device, so we have an iPhone 6 over here, or the LG G3. This has a little bigger screen by the 5.5 inches over here, and another model over here, the Galaxy A3. So this is how big it is, and it's pretty much the standard. So if you're wondering about the sizes, you can just standard 5-incher. We really like how it feels. It feels very, very sturdy and very well built. It's a one-piece metal frame, so it's got no screws whatsoever. We would like it a lot. And it's very light at the same time. The display is a bit of a disappointment. It's a 5-inch 720p. The resolution-wise is a mid-ranger, so we don't have any problem with that. But the screen's got a Pentel layout, so you'll be able to see some of the pixels a little bit out-colored, or little not fully filled, as opposed to the full RGB pixel layouts. But that's the display, and it's actually okay. And Samsung was generous enough to include some of the advanced functions that we found on the more advanced series, like a Note or the S series. Like the screen mode over here, that you can change the colors of the screen, or the one-hand operation over here. You can just do that, or so you can just control your phone, bigger phone, on your public transportation, buses or whatnot, with your one hand. It's easier that way, so they were generous enough to include that. And on top of that, we managed to rebuild most functions of the TouchWiz interface. How it looks doesn't really have many changes, but it's actually a lot snappier. So getting into settings, or getting into more settings, or even your multitasking functions work a lot faster. And this is something that we really like, because TouchWiz never was a light interface. It was always slow, laggy, and sturdy. And this is a very welcoming change. Everything is just so snappy. And of course, it's got a Snapdragon 410. It's a 64-bit processor. That's another welcoming change. And Snapdragon 400 series was never a snappy processor. It was built on the Cortex A7, and now it's Cortex A53, 1.2 gigahertz, and it's got a RAM of 2 gigabytes. So it's actually better than most of the entry-level smartphones out in the market, and it's really snappy. If you would allow me, we would like to switch Nova Launcher. I got everything set up there, so we When we go to pages over here, so web surfing and everything, we're connected to the 4G network over here. It's an LTE network, and it's fast enough, and the scrolling is actually a lot smoother than I expected. So this you won't be able to feel that this is actually a Snapdragon 410 device, because usually Snapdragon 410 devices or Snapdragon 400 devices are a lot laggier than this is, and this guy is not. Another thing that they have pointed out is the camera. So camera itself, the rear camera is just about the mediocre quality. It was not exactly amazing, but the front-facing camera was actually pretty good. With the 5 megapixel camera, it has a lot of beautifying functions. You can just retouch faces or slim face or bigger eyes. All those neat little things. And it's got a wide angle selfie camera, so we really like the selfie function over here. And the sound quality is actually pretty good too, along with the speaker. Speaker is just about the mediocre, but it's okay. The thing that we were a bit disappointed was the battery life. The battery life we got was with the medium display, we set it to auto, but it was standing between the 40 or the 50% brightness all the time. With the full LTE network connected, it only gave us about the 3 hours and 40 minutes to 4 hours and 10 minutes of battery screen on time. And without any application sucking up the battery in the background, that's not exactly a good battery life, because even its younger sibling, Galaxy A3, gave us an enough of a 5-hour battery life. It's got a 2300 milliamps of battery with the 5-inch displays with 720p resolution and Snapdragon 410, so that shouldn't be the one sucking up the battery. So that was a little bit disappointment. But keep in mind that this is a Chinese model. This is a Chinese local model, and this was not intended to run on the FDLT network. So if that's a little problem, you might want to take a look at the other reviews for the battery life, because we don't expect this bit of an increasement on the screen size is going to suck up that much battery compared to the Galaxy A3. Those are same Chinese local models, so we don't expect that kind of differences, but it happens. So if you're wondering about battery life, you might want to check that out with the other reviewers as well, because we're not always perfect. All right, so that was Galaxy A5, and this is definitely worth buying. This is priced around $400 to $450. For that price, of course, you can get a snappier processor, more gigabytes of RAM, and other fancy things in the same stuff. But trust me, this is very well built considering it's a Samsung phone, and it's got a snappy processor, and it's got a solid performance in the same time. The screen and the battery life was a bit of a disappointment, but for this price range as a Samsung device, this was amazingly snappy and very solid performance in the same time. So if you're considering to get a mid-range Galaxy device, this might be it. The Galaxy A5, here it is, A3 and 5 and 7. We already dealt with the A3 on our review, so if you want to check that out, please do that. We are going to deal with the Galaxy A7 very soon, so check that out too. So this was Samsung's full metal Galaxy A5. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later very, very soon. Stay tuned.